I hope I'm not disturbing your joke. He's like, of course not, Sally. So good to see old faces from the past. Here, I'll show you my abode. And he like puts him into this like little roller coaster ride. He's like, sit tight. And he fucking, make sure that's like nice and tight. And it's like, it's a bumpy ride. And it just shoots off and Sal's like, oh. He's like all horrified. Joker's like, he's just laughing. Hello, and thank you for checking out the video. I just want to let you know that I not only create content on my YouTube channel, Class in the Glass, but I'm also on Twitch, where I review movies, cartoons, and TV shows live, while also playing single-player games and multiplayer games. I also have a Patreon where subscribers have access to hundreds of video and audio commentaries for films and cartoons, as well as podcasts and videocasts. In the meantime, thank you again for watching. Enjoy the video.
Can't be too careful with all those weirdos around.
A soaring new adventure. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, the animated movie.
But chat, we got to get to today's review. We're getting to that review early, chat. That Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. But before I get into the nitty-gritty details of this movie, I have a very important question to ask of you. That question being, chat, how many of you have seen the 1993 cult animated classic, Batman Mask of the Phantasm? I am curious. DT Darkslayer, I'm not ignoring you. Pleasure to have you here, DT Darkslayer. Welcome back to the stream. Bloodstone Gamers, welcome. Ever seen Batman Soldier? I have not. Yeah, I heard it's like, Shang-Chi meets Batman. Doesn't he team up with like Bruce Lee or something? I have heard about that. Alan Berger says, I have. M. Xavier, never seen it. Zodi, I have. I still have it on DVD. Nice. I got it on Blu-ray. Very good. Cassie, I have not. Brandon Curious, it's been a few years since I rewatched it. Cassie, you should. Blessing Gamers, I done seen it. It's so good. Agreed. Darkslayer says, I've seen it a couple times, but it's like a crazy good. Yes. No, I agree with you. So we got a good Panda Kaiju says like 10 times. That's double digits, baby. I love it. So we got a good mixture too. We got a good group of people, those who have seen it, those who have not seen it. Maybe they've always heard about it. And actually, I'm not surprised that maybe a lot of people haven't seen this, chat, because when this movie originally came out all the way back in 1993, not a lot of people did, of course. Infamously, this, because of the huge success, the critical commercial success of Batman the Animated Series, Fox and Warner Brothers said, hey, let's make a movie. Let's make a made-for-TV movie. And Bruce Timm and company went, okay, sure, we can do that. It's like, yes, but you have to do it in less than a year. You have to do it in 8 months. They went, oh, fuck, well, we better get going on this thing. And they did shit. They worked on it, told an original story. Really cool, but very much keeping in the world of Batman series. Kind of did their own version of the origin story, which you think, oh, give me a goddamn break. We're doing the Batman origin again. It's like, no, Chad. It's like, this is after, like, his parents were already dead. This was after he already did the training, just when he was on the cusp. Of becoming Batman. Sure, at least that's what a part of the story is, and him dealing with the repercussions of his past and the love of his life, Chad, coming back into his life. Can he handle it? That's what the story was about, of course. How are all these old mobsters involved? Why are they all dying off? Who is this Phantasm who's seeking revenge? Why is this thing an angel of death? And how is the Joker involved in all this? What's his connection to Bruce and Bruce's love's past, Chad? Ooh, a lot of things. It's cool. It's very interesting. And, they made the movie, and then Fox and Warner Brothers at the last minute said, hey, we're going to put this in theaters. And they went, oh, shit, well, we haven't marketed the movie. And they're just like, oh, it'll be fine. No worries. Everyone loves Batman animated series. Everyone loves fucking Batman. They already had 2 big Batman movies that had come out around this same time. You had Batman 1999, famously Batman Returns, which is one of the big reasons why we got the animated series in the first place. So it's like, it'll do no problem. We don't need no marketing. Of course, the film was released and it bombed. It was a commercial box office failure, chat. But in the years since, once it was released to TV, once it was released on VOD, it started to make a profit, and it is a beloved Batman movie, chat. Definitely one of the best ones. Certainly of the time, between 89 all the way up to like 97. This is easily the cream of the crop. This is definitely number 1, in my opinion. I mean, in terms of Batman movies, maybe I prefer Dark Knight or, Batman Begins. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Those are maybe my top 3 Batman movies overall. But still, this is very high. It's an excellent film, in my opinion. And for those of you who love the animated series, it's hard not to like this movie as well. Of course, you have an incredible cast. Yeah, you got Kevin Conroy coming back to voice Bruce Wayne, Batman. You have Mark Hamill voicing the Joker, chat. You have some other people involved here. You got Dana Delaney, chat, who voices Andrea Beaumont. This, funny enough, people are like, who? Dana Delaney, who's that? You've heard her voice before, chat. Not just as Andrea Beaumont. She was also, because Bruce Timm and company, they were so impressed with her performance in this movie, they casted her as Lois Lane in the Superman the Animated Series, which she then voiced in Superman and then later on Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Chat, did you know that fun fact? I did. And they have some other people in there like Abe Vigoda, chat, Hart Bachner, who played that scumbag Elliot in Die Hard, chat, the one that's always fucking doing coke off of, like, you know, woman's bosoms. That guy, he's in this movie too. It's nuts. Don, thank you so much for resubscribing. 38 months of incredible support, Don, over 3 years. Purple Canary, welcome to stream. I hope you're doing well. Such a pleasure. We got a lot of good people in here, chat. In case I missed you before, welcome. Hope your Tuesday evening is treating you with much respect. Just talk about my love of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, chat. But, you know, even though it was a commercial disaster at the time, or a commercial bomb, in the years since, it has garnered a huge cult following, did eventually make a significant profit over time, chat, you know, on VOD. And it's looked at as one of the best Batman adaptations of all time. Also, for myself, you know, I feel like this movie, because it's set after the events of the first season of Batman, the animated series. And then it goes into season 2 with Batman and Robin, and then eventually we got to season 3, where they changed the animation style and things. And I feel like with this Batman, I talked about this during the DT review, Double Toast review, if not gone and checked that out. I think it's on YouTube now, check the edited version. But I've said that certain things I think within this Batman's life has made him a colder person. And I imagine the events of this film kind of led to how he was later on in the other animated seasons. Particularly in season 3, he becomes very cold, and where most of his relationships dissolve completely, whether it's between Dick Grayson or everything that happened with Barbara Gordon or Tim Drake. And then we obviously see that colder version of Batman in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited until finally he's completely alone by the time we get to the events of Batman Beyond. I mean, this version of Batman, it doesn't work out for him. It's like, yeah, he has Terry at the end, you can say, once we get, 40 years in the future, 50 years in the future, but he's pretty much lost everything at that point. And I always liked that was, that's where the writers took him. Because normally they're like, we'll give Bruce a happy ending. He does not get a happy ending, chat, and kind of Gotham's like worse off after all these decades. It's kind of nuts to see that. We don't often see that in many Batman stories, certainly many Batman adaptations and films and things, chat. Usually they have somewhat of a positive ending, or they mean overall. Can't say she was also in a short-lived musical forensic type drama called Body. That's right, she was. That's right. That's a good piece of trivia right there, Cassidy. Thank you. Michael Clutch, you're going to see a Batman Mask of the Phantasm is still, to me, the best Bat movie. Suck a bird and all. I mean, anyone that says that this is the best movie, I'm not gonna fight you on. I think there is definitely an argument to be made in that regard. It did things that that the Burton films and the Schumacher films did not do. That it wasn't really until like the Nolan movies where he started explaining. And this is very much a detective. This is a detective mob story, chat, which is what I like about that. I love that Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and like all the other writers involved, like Michael Reeves and Martin Pascoe. They were like, no, our Batman is detective first, superhero second. I always loved that, and that was something they always held true in the first, second, third seasons of the animated series, which has been great. Batman is therapy for Batman. He was never getting a happy ending. He was just easing his pain as much, but pretty much. But his issue is chronic. It can't be cured. He even knew it was a losing war. It made him feel better and at least help people. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. 100%. I mean, yeah, it's more for him. But he was helping people along the way. True. Val, cute thing with the Timmys, ironically, he had a chance of Lois. That's true. But once the cow was ripped off, she's like, I'm done. Yeah, she thinks Batman's fucking nuts. She was in the Bruce Wayne. She was like, I can't handle that. So it's crazy. Yeah. Lost Andrea twice, chat. 3 times, really. Luke Gosling to me as well. Unfortunately, I think, canonically speaking, I think him and Nightwing relationship got messed up because he was messing around with Batgirl. I mean, I know in the comics they've talked about that. Like that was the reason, I suppose. In the animated series, obviously, we didn't really see that. But yeah, I would not. I mean, there was other things, too, with Dick that just didn't work out. Hi, Summer Baby. Welcome to stream. I hope you're doing very well today. An absolute pleasure to have you. Kirstando, welcome to the stream, Kirstando. Look at all the fine people coming in here, chat. This is awesome. It's awesome. But yeah, I think Batman Mask of the Phantasms, certainly during that time period, set the standard of what people should expect and deserve when it comes to a Batman adaptation, chat. I think this incorporates some of the best aspects of whether it be the movies or the original comics. Absolutely loving Kirstando, thank you for the 100 biddies. Groovy. Appreciate that. Very kind. Batman Year One is another good one. What do you think of that? The adaptation? I thought it was okay. I liked it. It was. It's funny. A lot of like Batman Year One is in this movie as well. So like aesthetically too. Like the whole sequence when he gets trapped in the construction site. It's very similar to what we saw in the Year One comic, obviously, which they borrowed from, no doubt. And so by the time they adapted the graphic novel, it was like into the movie, which came out like 10 years ago, maybe I guess 10 years ago or something. I was like, oh, okay. I liked it. But I think like something like Phantasm just kind of did it better, had a more just interesting overall story. But that's just me, chat. That's just me. But yeah, I am a huge fan of this movie. And this continued on. This wasn't the last of these Batman straight to VOD movies, chat, because we also got Batman and Mr. Freeze. We got Sub-Zero, which I actually really liked. Kind of has a bit of a bad rap or negative reputation. I really like that movie, and it gives us more of the Bruce Timm, Mr. Freeze, which I think is definitely the best incarnation of the character. Everything to do with his wife, that came from those people right there. And we also got Mystery of the Batwoman, which I personally think is the weakest, but I still enjoyed that movie. And then all the other DCAU animated films too, like Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. Great stuff, chat. Amazing stuff. But hey, I'll start with this one right here, chat. Mask of the Phantasm. Oh, a little fun story too. Because like there was no press for this movie at all, there was no marketing, and they didn't have like a red carpet screening for this movie of all the creators and the actors they put out in theaters, and that's what happened. And famously, Mark Hamill's talked about how he went to the theater with his family to see this film, and no one was there, with the exception of maybe one other family. And he introduced himself. He's like, "Hi, my name is Mark Hamill. I'm in the movie. Do you guys want to sit together?" And that's what they did, and they watched the movie together, which I thought was pretty fucking cool. But hey, again, in years since, chat, it's held up in such high regard. But I always love that story of hearing people's different, the actors and how they were involved. And like, oh, they probably perceived this as a huge failure or something. But no, like that was a really cute, wholesome moment. And I always like that story when Mark Hamill has told it. It's super adorable. But now, my friends, we must get to today's review, the proper scene by scene breakdown of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, chat. And this movie opens in a CGI Gotham City like you've never seen it before in the animated series. Since they got a little more money for this movie, they want to have an opening sequence where we fly all around the city in the crimson-tinged skies of Gotham, chat, where we have Shirley Walker's score. Shirley Walker, who is no longer among us, chat, rest in peace, took Danny Elfman's score and fucking ran with it, chat. Just did even better things with it, in my honest opinion, because we get this just operatic. It's like, oh, it's amazing. I mean, they hired the Gregorian monks from Halo, Chad, and they don't come fucking cheap. You gotta pay those Gregorian monks a lot of money, Chad, a lot of schmeckles. It's true. Oh my God, thank you for the 10 biddies. Look, the only Batman we don't talk about is Rise of Sun Tzu. Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that game. And Exar Gaming, thank you for resubscribing. Appreciate that. Talking about Shirley Walker's amazing score. I don't know what the fuck those Gregorian monks are saying, chat, but they're killing it. They're killing it. And eventually, chat, we go over to a casino nestled in the asshole of Gotham City, chat. Ooh, there's some scheming and some scamming going on, chat. And we see that we have a meeting with mobster Chucky Saul, Chad, okay? He's trying to launder all this money through these casinos, Chad. Hundreds of thousands of dollars and up to millions of dollars, Chad. He wants to make sure that all this is done by March. And he's handing out the fake bills to everybody. Like, it's pretty good, it's pretty good. He's like, yeah, does everyone have a goddamn problem with that? Everyone's like, no, man, we want to make some money too. Let's fucking do it. But then, Chad, boom, Batman crashes through the window. He was watching them. He was listening the whole time. And he's like, I have a problem with that. They're like, oh, fuck, it's Batman. And they all pull out their guns. Oh, witness! Witness Batman! That's the music that was playing when he crashed through the window. Raid! It's a raid! Oh, and they all fucking freak out. Exvar Gaming, thank you so much for the raid. I hope you're having a very good day. Hope you had a very fun stream. An absolute pleasure to have you here right now. Mr. Anderson, am I driving to Corey's tonight? No, man, I'm just doing my own stream. But Batman, he crashes through the fucking thing. It's like, I'm Batman. They're like, holy shit. And they pull out their guns. But Batman, he's too quick. He knows these mobsters, what they typically do. And he takes out a fucking batarang. Bam! He throws it. The one guy hits his hand. Gun falls down. The batarang bounces off that guy, hits the one guy in the head, knocks him out, severely concusses him, chat. Brain's definitely hemorrhaging blood, but he'll live. He'll just be a little derpy. And then all these other mobsters, they pull out some more guns and start shooting at Batman, but he sneaks under this huge, long, rectangular table, chat. Like, he's crawling really fast. And this guy's like, it's the Bat. We gotta shoot the Bat. And they're shooting at it and stuff. But Batman, he just lifts up the rectangular table and smushes a guy, chat. He's like, oh, and he just falls on top of him. One guy swings at Batman. Batman just grabs him and throws him into this giant fucking ornate picture of a very big bazoonga lady, chat, and it falls on top of him. Meanwhile, Chucky, so he's like, feet don't fail me now, and he takes off running with all the fake money, chat, all the fake schmeckles. Batman, he just walks. Batman's like, you know, I got this now. He ain't getting away. He just walks away. While the guy underneath the rectangular table, chat, he's going for his gun, and Batman just goes, bah! He just fucking kicks the table and just knocks him the fuck out. Meanwhile, we cut to Chucky Saul as he's going into this parking garage, chat, just stumbling, trying to get his keys together, trying to get to his car, and all of a sudden, chat, all this mist, all this fog and smoke start to encircle him and start to cover the entire parking garage, and we hear this voice, Chucky Saul, your angel of death awaits. And he's like, Batman, how did you get here? And then this figure, chat, he thinks it's Batman, steps out of the mist and the fog, and it's no. It looks like someone who appears to be the Grim Reaper, the ghost of Christmas yet to come, the ghost of Christmas future. And he has this giant, like, hook hand, like the fucking Candyman. Be my victim, Chucky Saul. Chucky Saul's like, oh! And he fucking takes off running, chat. But this phantasm, if you will, comes after him, chat. He manages to get into his car. He turns the thing on. He thinks he's safe. But the phantasm jumps on the car and starts smashing into the window, chat, trying to get him. He's like, oh! But he makes a sharp turn in the parking garage, knocking off of this Grim Reaper phantasm, chat. And he turns the car around, and he just goes right. He's just driving right at this guy. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And right before he's about to hit him, chat, the phantasm turns into mist and smoke and fog and vanishes. And he can't see anything, so he's still driving. He's like... And then once the fog all parts, he is like right at the end of the parking garage, chat, like 30 fucking stories up. And he's like, ah! And he can't stop, chat. Boom! He bursts, he yeets himself out of that parking garage, chat. He fucking Fast and Furious at chat, but he wasn't a member of the family. Gravity and physics still apply to him. And he yeets himself all the way over to the other skyscraper, then boom, goes through a window here, bang, because Chucky Saul is dead, chat. He just must have exploded in the front seat. Head hit the fucking dashboard, brains and meat everywhere, chat. Thank you, Luke the Boss of the Timonies. Chucky, Casey Jones, what are you doing, guys? Right? Kind of does look like Casey Jones, the hockey mask and stuff. Kind of like a Jason Voorhees vibe, too. But Batman, he hears the horn. He finally gets up the parking garage. Took you long enough, Batman. Jeez. And he gets up there. And he sees the car. He looks over the edge. He's like, oh, shit. I didn't do that. But all the people see the accident, too. And they was like, it was Batman. Batman killed Chucky Saul. How do you know it was Chucky Saul? How do they know that, chap? Batman's like, oh, shit, gotta leave. But he looks down. He sees, like, this chemical, like, all over the ground, and also part of the windshield from Chucky Saul's car. He picks this up. He's like, I gotta analyze this. But then, chat, he sees the phantasm. He sees the phantasm at the other end of the parking garage. He's like, I'm gonna pursue you. Chases after the phantasm, chat. But by that point, Phantasm has already exited out of the building, went through the emergency exit, and Batman's like, I'm not going to find him. There's no way that I'm going to get him, chat. Eventually, we cut from that, and we're introduced to the character of Councilman Arthur Reeves, chat. He's just going through a new election right now. He's very popular in Gotham, but he's got a bone to pick with Batman, chat. He doesn't like that Batman takes the law into his own hands, and he wants the GCPD, especially Commissioner James Gordon to be involved in the apprehension of the Batman. But fucking Commissioner Gordon says, like, listen, Councilman, there is no way that Batman was responsible for the death of Chucky Saul, okay? Batman doesn't kill. And he's like, so you're just gonna let him get away with everything else? All this property damage and things? He's endangering the citizens of Gotham City, which technically kind of is. I mean, he is. And it's like, we need to put a stop to this. And other members of the police force agree with me, and fucking Harvey Bullock's like, hey, don't talk to me, Jesus Christ. But it's true, Harvey Bullock doesn't like Batman either. Even though Harvey and Batman have worked together multiple times in multiple episodes. And it's like, this needs to be stopped. Batman, he's a menace. And then we cut chat, and we see that Alfred, he's in the Batcave. He was watching this on TV chat. And he's like, oh, pay no attention to it, Mr. Master Wayne. Master Bruce, you are perfectly sane. And by the way, I just cleaned all of your batarangs and packed away all of your gas grenades. And he's like, thanks, Alfred. Which I love it. Alfred is extra fucking sassy. He's super sassy in this movie, and I love that. I love that. But Alfred's like, what are you doing, Bruce? He's like, well, I'm analyzing the chemical on this glass as some type of phosphate, oxygen, O2, H2O, mumbo jumbo chat. It's a chemical of some kind. And he's like, this is used by this Phantasm-esque figure. Maybe I'll be able to track him down if I can find other samples of it around the city. Eventually, chat. We then cut to an airplane where very curvaceous, it's Bruce Timm, of course the woman's very curvaceous. A very curvaceous redhead is on board, and she's having a little conversation with Arthur, chat, Councilman Arthur, who we just saw freaking out about Batman. And he's like, oh, Andrea, it's gonna be so great to have you back in the city. Is your father joining you? And she's like, oh, Daddy's not gonna join us right now. And he's like, oh, okay, well, it'll just be good to have you here. Are you gonna keep up? Are you going to look up some old friends? And Andrea looks down. She has a magazine chat of Bruce Wayne. It's like Playboy Monthly or something like that. And billionaire Playboy philanthropist Bruce Wayne is smack dab on the cover. And she's like, no, that is in the past. I'm here for you, Arthur. Then we cut, chat, to that Playboy's mansion. Not that Playboy mansion, but Bruce's mansion, chat, where he's having some sort of gala. We have all these rich people going, doing that rich laugh. Like they're just happy that they're not the poors of Gotham City who constantly have to survive. They're always caught in the crossfire between all of Gotham's villains and Batman. They're like, oh, thank God we have to deal with that. And we see Batman. He's got both his hands on two ladies, asses, chat. He's just hanging out. And these girls are just lusting after him. They're like, Bruce, when are you finally going to settle down? Don't you need a good woman in your life? And then, chat, we get to kind of like, okay, so there's some aspects of this movie that have not aged well, or some of the animation is kind of like just fucking weird. Oh! Divine Miss Klein. Thank you so much for the 3,000 biddies. I am the Dovahkiin. No, you are the Dovahkiin. You are the Dragonborn. Thank you, Divine Miss Klein, for all that generosity. You definitely get to pick. You definitely get to pick some TV shows for me to review in the future. Some episodes. That was epic, incredible. That's like when Bruce in the party just hear the fucking Skyrim soundtrack playing. That would be amazing. No interruption. No apologies necessary. You're totally good. Thank you. Believe me, I don't mind being interrupted for 3,000 biddies. That is a fine interruption indeed. Cheers and salute to you. An absolute pleasure to have you here right now. Thank you. Just in the middle of my review for Batman Mask of the Phantasm, telling people that Bruce Wayne, he's throwing this big old gala in his mansion, chat. He's got these two honeys around his arms, and then they're all asking, they're all lusting. They want that fucking trust fund. They want those billions that Bruce Wayne has, chat. And they're all asking him, Bruce, why don't you go on a date? Why don't you settle down with a nice lady? And then this one woman who walks up, and again, some of the animation in this is questionable. Some of the animation has not aged well. But I don't know what the fucking decision was why they animated this Asian character the way they did. Because the thing is, there have been like Asian characters in the Batman animated series, chat, and they all look normal. But for whatever reason, we had this Asian woman walk up, And she says, Bruce doesn't like the I word. And he's like, what's the I word? And she's like, engagement. And we see her eyes, and they are black as coal. And I'm like, I don't know what that, it's just weird. Like, she has these small little white dots, which I guess are supposed to be her pupils, but the rest of her eyes are black. She looks like a demon. And I don't know what the decision was for that. Honestly, her eyes look like the Joker's eyes in the season 3 redesign of the animated series, and so I just don't understand what the thinking was for that. That felt like they were rushed. That's Michael Collector. That's what the character looked like, 110% right there. And he's like, Jesus Christ, they're just these brides. They're so dumb. But then this one woman walks up, and she looks like she has something to say to Bruce, and she's like, listen, girls. Bruce, he doesn't care to settle down, hell, to even maintain a normal relationship, okay? All he's looking for is just an easy girl and a quick fuck. That's all you care about, Bruce. And she fucking throws her drink in his face. And then we're like, oh, shit. And like, he walks away as, he has to find something to clean himself up. Alfred comes by, and he gives him a goddamn handkerchief. He's wiping himself down. He's like, Alfred, I gotta go be sad in my study. And so Bruce, eventually he goes to his study chat where he looks up, and we see, the portrait of his parents chat. And every time Bruce sees his parents, he's sad because they're dead, as you all know. He's like, oh, God, it wasn't always this way. For a moment, I was almost happy, chat. And we cut to Bruce Wayne in Gotham Cemetery chat, in the graveyard chat. He is at the giant monolith that is his parents' grave with the big Wayne spelled W-A-Y-N-E, chat, Wayne right there. And he's like, I'm really sad, but I just came back to the city. I spent years training for this moment. I will make you proud, Mom and Dad. I will avenge you. And then, chat, he hears this woman behind his gravestone talking to somebody, and she's like, oh, Mom, it's so good to see you. I mean, things are going crazy. Dad's really stressed out, but trying to make him happy, of course. And school went really well and everything, and there's like no one there, and he kind of looks there, and he walks over. He's like, oh, sorry, are you talking to me? She's like, no, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to my mom. And he's like, okay, and he starts walking away. And then this woman, she looks down at the grave. She's like, hey, Mom, guess what? That was Bruce Wayne. Can you believe it? And he's like, what the hell? And then she walks up to him and gets up and like, hey, sorry about that. I know it's kind of weird. I was talking to my mom, talking, here. It's kind of, it makes me feel like she's still with me. He's like, no, I understand that. I do the same thing with my parents. And she's like, oh yeah, you must be Bruce Wayne, right? And he goes, yes. He's like, wow, you left the city quite some time ago. It's a major news story right now that you came back. What's the reason? He's like, I have some unfinished business. I need to rectify a few things. She's like, well, that's cool. My name's Andrea Beaumont, by the way. And he's like, oh, it's nice to meet you, Andrea. Thank you so much. Do you want to? Why are you so curious about me, by the way? And she's like, oh, I'm not curious about you at all. Even though she gives him the fucking once over, she's looking at all that man meat that Bruce Wayne is. She's like, my mom was just curious. And she gets into her car, and she drives away. And Bruce is like, whoo, she was pretty hot. But then, whoa, shit. He looks up, Chad, and it starts to get dark, and the lightning and the rain starts coming down. He's like, tonight's the night. We then cut, Chad. To this warehouse. We see this security guard all tied up. He's like, and we see all these guys, these thugs, shit, these hooligans, if you will. They're loading all these boxes in the warehouse inside of the back of this truck, Chad. They're stealing things. They're stealing all sorts of things. And they're like, all right, guys, as soon as we're done loading the truck, fucking kill the guard. And the guard's like, It's like, don't kill him. And Chad, he has fucking 3 kids to feed. He's got a wife and another baby on the way. Why you want to kill all the guards? They're trying to just, do their jobs. But all of a sudden, Chad, we see Bruce. He's not Batman yet, Chad. He's just literally kind of wearing like a leather jacket and a ski mask, and he jumps on top of the truck and then does a flip. And he's like, all right, everybody, get down on the ground and don't move. I mean it. And they all start laughing at him. Who the fuck is this jabroni over here? Oh, we're gonna all get down on the ground. Okay, all right, sure, buddy. He's like, I mean it. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, we mean it too. Hey, it's 4 against fucking 1. The hell are you gonna do, pretty boy? And they start coming up on him, chat. But Bruce, he starts fucking punching. He starts throwing some punches and things, and he takes out, like, 3 of the guys. He's like, yeah. He's like, he literally does a fist pump going, yeah. He's just very excited. But then the last guy, Chad, he grabs a goddamn submachine gun. He's like, suck on fucking lead, you asshole. And he starts shooting. And then Bruce, he's like, oh no. And he grabs the security guard, Chad, and he runs back into the warehouse as the guy's just peppering bullets everywhere. Eventually, he gets in the truck. Bruce, he goes at the security guard. It's like, you stay here, you be safe. And he yeets himself at the back of the truck, chat, grabs onto the door, and is holding on for fucking dear life. As the truck is just careening down the city streets of Gotham, chat. Eventually, you get to, like, I guess, this bridge that's a part of the Gotham, connecting the different islands of the city. And we're going across this bridge, and we see this police car right next to the truck. And who is in the passenger side seat, chat? Harvey Bullock. He's a fucking just regular police officer. This is before he was, a detective. And he's, stuffing his fat face with donuts and buttered noodles and just, so good. But he then sees, chat, right next to him, fucking Bruce hanging out the back of the car. He's like, blah, blah, and he has to vomit up all of the buttered noodles and donuts, chat. And he's like, we gotta stop that truck. And there's like this other schmuck we don't even know. He probably died. We don't know that other cop, chat. But they chased after the truck. And they turn the sirens on, wee woo, all that. And they try to get in front of the truck to stop it, to slow it down using their bumper. But the driver's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna kill you. And he hits the police car in such a way where it accidentally turns to the side, and then it ends up on its side, chat. So it's being dragged across. It's being pushed across the ground by the truck, chat. And eventually it skids against. It kind of skids to the left and just kind of hits the guardrail. But Harvey Bullock and the other guy, they're okay, Chad. They just got a little fucked up is all. Eventually, Bruce, he works his way from the back of the truck all the way to the front, punches through the windshield and grabs the wheel of the car, Chad. But this thing, because he grabs it and he turns the wheel way too fast, and the truck then falls on its side. And it starts skidding all the way towards this building. Bruce is like, oh! He's holding on for dear life. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And right before he's about to get like smushed like a goddamn bug, it stops. And he's like, oh. And then he hears the wee woo of all of the police sirens, chat, and he scampers up a wall. And as the guy is arrested, chat, and we then cut. And we see Alfred reading a newspaper, and it says, mysterious vigilante stops thievery, security guard, eyewitness, etc., Officer Harvey Bullock promoted, etc. And Alfred comes over, he's like, oh, looks like you had a successful, a successful night, Bruce. And he goes, Alfred, I can't tell you, it was an amazing feeling. I still have a lot to learn, but there was just one problem. He's like, Alfred's like, what's that, Master Wayne? And he's like, they weren't afraid of me. They didn't fear me, Alfred. I'm missing something. I just don't know. I just don't know what it is. I need something. I need something to strike fear into their hearts. And then Alfred's like, Bruce. He's like, no, Alfred, I'm just... You have any ideas? Like, Bruce, you have a guess. And we see Andrea Beaumont, and she's looking good, honey. She comes walking in, and she goes, hi, I didn't mean to, drop by unannounced, but I just wanted to, talk with you. I just wanted to meet with you again. If you don't mind, I was in the neighborhood. And Alfred's like, I'll leave you two alone, sir. I shall get refreshments. Lemonade, Miss Beaumont. She's like, yes, please. That'd be wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Pennyworth. And so Alfred goes inside the house to get the mansion, to get some lemonade and some shit. And Bruce, he's practicing judo at this point, and he's like doing all of his cool kung fu moves, trying to impress her. And she's like, what you doing? He's like, I'm practicing jiu-jitsu. And she says, Gesundheit. And he gives her such the nastiest goddamn look. She's like, I'm kidding. It's a joke. And he's like, And he's like, it takes years to master this mixed martial art, and I have done so. And she literally walks up to him and just fucking flips him over. And he's like, whoa, a lady beat me. She goes, yeah, Daddy hired the best trainers for me. And he's like, that's pretty cool. And he just fucking takes her legs out, Chad. He just sweeps his fucking leg. She falls on her ass. He's like, hey. And then this is kind of like, okay, I don't know if this is aged very well. And he just kind of grabs her and is on top of her. And she's like, well, aren't you going to get a little closer? I want a little more physical contact. And the two of them start smooching, Chad. They start smooching. They fuck on the front lawn of Wayne Manor. And then we cut to poor Alfred, chat. We cut to poor Alfred. Crooked Shoe Tail's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. He walks out with the lemonade, and he just sees these two fucking going at it in the grass, and he's like, all right. He just goes back inside the house. He's like, you know what, good for him, but he didn't have to do it right on the goddamn front lawn. Oh, my Lord. After that, chat, I think after that little wrestling match, chat, we then cut back to sad Bruce Wayne just looking up at his parents' painting, chat, the picture. And Alfred walks in. He's like, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Master Bruce, but fucking Tiffany is dancing on the piano again. She's had a little too much to drink. If you can help her off, that'd be great. He's like, I'm coming, Alfred. I'm just being sad. Eventually, chat, we cut back to that graveyard that we saw all those years ago. And we have this car rolling up, Chad. It's dark. It's all misty. It's spooky. It's very Scooby-Doo-esque, very Scooby-Doo-esque. It pulls up, Chad, and these two bodyguards, they get out of the car. They open this door, and we're introduced to Fatty Bronski, Chad. He's a mobster, and he's there to pay his respects to good old Chucky Saul. And the one bodyguard, he gives them this, like, the ceremonial wreath, and he gives them a flashlight. And Fatty Bronski's like, you guys wait here. Oh, I'm gonna go see Saul. And so he waddles into the graveyard, chat, and he comes to the grave, and he's like, oh, Chucky Saul, you always were a fucking loser in life and loser in death. Oh. But all of a sudden, we start to hear Fatty Bronski. He's like, whoa, who said that? Who the hell's talking to me? Oh, it's just the wind. Just the wind. But then all of a sudden, Chad, who comes out of all the mist and fog and smog, Chad? The Phantasm. And the Phantasm's like, Fatty Bronski, your angel of death is here. And he's like, oh! And he just waddles away. He's like, oh, God. Oh, Jesus. He might as well just be rolling on the fucking grass, Chad. He'd move faster. But he waddles away, and his fat ass trips himself, Chad. It's all the fat folds just jiggling, and he couldn't stop himself. It's that kind of thing where he can't stop abruptly, or like all of his mass will just fucking tip over. And so he's just waddling so fast, it just causes him to tip over, and he rolls down into a grave, chat, right? Like a grave that's been dug up, or just about to be, have someone buried in there. And he's like, oh, he's too fat to, like, lift himself up. But he does the whole, whew, I got away. But then this massive fucking gravestone is like a giant angel and shit. And literally his angel of death awaits, shit. This thing starts to tip forward. And he's like, no. And it just lands on him, chat. And he just explodes. Like all of his man meat and just meat splooge just shoots out of poor fatty Bronski, chat. Meanwhile, his guards, they hear the, as you'd hear that a mile away. And they're like, boss, are you okay? And they run up, Chad, and he's dead. All of his cream filling left the body, Chad, and they're like, oh my God, it's horrible. Eventually, we then cut to Abe Vigoda, who plays the character of Sal Valeska, Chad. Good old, what's his name? I'm going to make sure I got this name correct, Chad. I want to make sure I got this name correct. Good old Valestra, Sal the Weezer Valestra. And this is old gangster. He's in his mansion, chat. He's drinking some tea, enjoying his, his morning newspaper. And he goes, he spits it all out, chat. He's like, because he sees not only is good old Chucky Saul dead, but also Fatty Bronski smushed by a gravestone. He's like, no, it can't be. And he has to get, like, his oxygen shed, his O2, because he was fucking smoking cigarettes and cigars his entire life. And he has some serious lung issues, Chad. Probably has lung cancer and everything else. And he needs to calm himself down. He needs to calm himself down with some O2. Eventually, we then cut to Councilman Arthur Reeves, who has gone to see Commissioner Gordon, and said, listen, all these eyewitnesses are saying that Batman was at the scene of these murders. He's killing these mobsters. We can't have this kind of vigilanteism, Commissioner Gordon. And Commissioner Gordon's like, listen, it's not Batman. I know Batman. I am not going to be involved in this manhunt. You can forget it. And he just fucking leaves. He just walks out. And he's like, all right, boys, well, you want to help me out? And so him and Harvey Bullock, some other police officers, some other detectives, they go up to the GCPD. They turn the bat signal on, but, Harvey Bullock's like, usually he's here by now. But fucking Batman, he knows that that's not Commissioner Gordon to call him, Chad. If it was Jim, he'd be there, no problem. But he ain't going to show up there for Arthur Reeves and Harvey Bullock, who've been criticizing him so goddamn much, Chad. Batman's busy, because Batman's taken the Batmobile, and he's gone to investigate the crime scene, Chad. He's picking up all the Bronski filling, and he notices, Chad, on the lawn is the same chemical residue that was on the windshield piece from Chucky Saul's car. And he's making notes to himself, speaking into the, his little recorder. But then he's like, you know what? It's time to go see the folks. Glee, thank you for the 100 biddies. Thank you so much, Glee. I'm going to be doing my Yu Yu Hakusho episode review this upcoming Wednesday tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that. But an absolute pleasure to have you here, Glee. Hope you're doing well. But Batman, he goes over to the gravestone. We see like his shadow come up on the grave, and it was like, ooh, it's so spooky and everything. It says Wayne. But then Chad, he hears this voice, and it's like, I'm sorry, I haven't been back in a while, Mom. I know there's a lot of weeds here. I'll do a better job of cleaning this place. And then he's like, what? And he sees Chad, Andrea, his love. And she noticed, she gets the sense that someone's nearby, and she turns around. She's like, oh my God, it's you. And Batman's like, oh, I gotta go. And fucking Batman just runs away. Oh God, a girl. And he fucking runs away, Chad. And then she walks up and she looks at the grave and she's like, oh my God, Bruce. And she puts it together, Chad. She knows Bruce and Batman are one and the same, my friend. She just can't believe it. She can't believe it. Eventually, we then cut to Andrea and Arthur. It's like, oh, it's stormy, it's lightning, it's raining outside, but they're nice and cozy. They're having a nice little dinner date, this very, opulent-looking restaurant, and Arthur Reeves going over all these papers about her coming back to the city and getting an apartment and, how to move some money around. And, she's just kind of in a daze. She has her mind on so many things. Arthur's like, are you okay? She's like, I'm sorry, just a lot going on right now. He's, no, I understand. It's just a shame that your father couldn't be here to just help us with all the situation. And she goes, oh, yeah, no, I miss Daddy too. But he's like, Andrea, I am just really happy we get to spend some alone time together. And he starts petting her hand like a fucking creep. She goes, yeah, me too. It's great, isn't it? And then, shall we see the saddest fucking scene with Batman perched on the opposite building like a goddamn gargoyle through binoculars as the rain is just pouring down on him. And we see sad Batman, Chad. And he's like, I remember when she used to touch me that way. And then, Chad, we have another flashback to the world of the future, which is this, idealistic utopian theme park, where this will be Gotham City once all the crime is gone. Crime is never gone, Chad. And we get all these, automatons. They're all, it's kind of like, that Disney ride where it's, it's a small world after all, and everyone's like fucking happy and shit. And we see all these futuristic things, and it's Andre and a young Bruce Wayne, and they're fucking loving it. They're eating it up with all the other rich fucks in Gotham City. Like, this will be great once all the pores are gone. This is what they want. Like, this is a gentrified Gotham City, what they think they can achieve, but they can't achieve it, Chad. There's too much corruption, too much crime, too many supervillains. Too much Batman, at least not yet. Well, soon to be, makes it worse. But they're all doing that. And they're going to all the exhibits, having a good time. We see that this is the home, the family of the future. And it's like a kind of like retro 1950s Art Deco vibe of technology. You have the husband fucking watching TV, smoking a pipe. The wife is in the kitchen making the food, chat. So even in the future, that's where she should be. My Lord, the sexism on full display. And then get the little rusty dog going, ruff, ruff, ruff. And he's having a fun time. Little robo dog, chat. Little Goddard, if you will, from Jimmy Neutron Boy Jr.'s. Excellent animated series, did not get enough love when it originally came out. But eventually they go to another exhibit. And Batman, or excuse me, Bruce, he's not Batman yet, He doesn't even come up with the Batman persona yet. He sees the car of the future, which is the Batmobile. He's like, oh shit. And he sees it. It's red instead of black. And he's like, there's something about this. It's just stuck in my head right now. I need to. And Andrea walks up. She's like, oh, what are you looking at? And he's like, oh, no, nothing. Just got a sudden moment of inspiration. He goes, well, I'll inspire you when we get home. He's like, oh, sex. He's very excited about it, chap. After that, they're back in the car, and she's like, ooh, Bruce, I want you to meet my father, Andrea Beaumont, or excuse me, what's his name? Oh, God damn it. What's this guy's name? Carl Beaumont, that's it. My dad has my same name. We're both Andrea. But I want you to go meet my dad. And so they walk into his office while Carl Beaumont, he's working with a fucking nerdy-looking Arthur Reeves, Chad. He's got like a goofy looking haircut, and he's got these giant glasses, looking like Urkel, looking like a white Urkel. And he's like, well, excuse me, sir, if you could read over these documents, it would really help me. Oh. But then Bruce and Andrea walk in. Oh, pretty rich white people. So good to have you. Come in here, kiddos. And she's like, sorry, Dad. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. He's like, you're not interrupting nothing. Fucking Arthur was just about to leave. He's like, I gotta go, I guess. And he's like, well, hello, Andrea. Always good to see you. And she's like, oh, I want to introduce you to my boyfriend, Bruce Wayne. He goes, no. He's like the first incel. He's like, hi, Mr. Wayne. I will say, Carl Beaumont does kind of stick up for him, though. He's like, hey, Mr. Wayne, if you want an expert accountant, Arthur Reeves is the absolute best in the city. This guy's fantastic. And fucking Bruce is like, I'll remember that. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Arthur. Nice to meet you, Bruce, too. And he leaves. And he's like, well, Bruce, come on, go sit down. He's like, we're not interrupting. He's like, no. Come and sit down. Let's talk for a bit. And he's like, you're Bruce, the amount of time that Andrea has talked to me about you, it's like, you're practically family. When are you two gonna get hitched? And she's like, Daddy, shut up. And he's like, I'm just joking with you, kid. But then they hear a knock on the door, and Carl Beaumont's secretary comes in. And she's like, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry to interrupt your meeting here, but we have a Mr. Valestra. He says he has an appointment with you. And Valestra, this guy, he just fucking walks in. He walks in pushes past the secretaries. Yeah, we do have a fucking meeting. And he's like, oh, well, thank you, dear. If Sal Valestra says we have a meeting, then we definitely have a meeting. But then he gets like that. He has like a clenched fist. Looks like Arthur when he punched fucking DW in the face. Chat. It's like, ooh, he doesn't like this guy. And Valestra, he's just throwing his fucking weight around. He's like, oh, fucking good to see you, Carl. Yeah, we can have a talk. And these kids can stay here if they want. And he helps himself to one of these cigars. He sucks that cigar. He just blows out the smoke in Andrea and Bruce's face. And Andrea's like, well, Dad, if you anything, you just let me know. He's like, yeah, sure. Let me just go talk with Mr. Valestra here, and I'll come back. We'll get dinner. We're going to get dinner tonight. Sound good? And they're like, yeah, sure. And as Bruce and Andrea are leaving the office, chat, we see Sal's driver sitting in the car, and he's kind of looking at them. And I imagine just furiously jerking off. She's like, oh yeah, just watching them as they go down. This guy's also smoking fucking cigarettes the whole time. And he's like, he has his eye on Andrea, chat, and this makes Bruce a little uncomfortable when he spots this guy. He's kind of a fucking creep with his long nose and devilish grin. But they walk away, and Bruce is like, oh, what's the deal with that guy and your dad? Is he okay? She's like, yeah, he's just he has so many business meetings and meeting with so many people, and he's like, isn't that guy like a fucking mobster? She goes, well, I think he's just in league with some bad people, possibly, Bruce. It has me worried, but he's like, Andrea, shut up! There's a crime being committed, and they see Chad, this poor fucking guy. He's probably been working the street corner selling stuff or whatever. He's being harassed by these bikers. And Bruce is like, stand back, Andrea. I'm going to save this guy from these 5 fucking bikers. She's like, Bruce, are you fucking crazy? They got chains and they got brass knuckles and they got bludgeoning instruments and shit. And he's like, I can handle it. And he's like, hey, you guys stop. And, Bruce is just in a fucking cardigan. He's wearing a goddamn cardigan, chat. He's wearing khaki pants. And they're going, oh, look at this fucking rich boy. Think he could steal from us, take from us. You're the ones that's stealing. It's like, all right, fucking take it from us. And Bruce does his best, chat. Bruce does his best. fighting these bikers, but they kick his fucking ass. They absolutely 100% kick his ass, and they even get away with the loot. They get away with the goddamn box shack filled with money and jewels and shit, and they drive away. And Andrea's like, "Oh, Bruce, are you okay?" He's like, "Don't fucking touch me!" Don't touch me! He doesn't want to be touched right now. He's very mad about this situation, chat. He then goes home, and he's fucking sulking. He's typical Batman. He was already sulking and, brooding way before he had the cape and cowl on. Bean Boy, good to see you. I just finished this right now. Nice. Remember when the Joker was just jerking off? Oh, he won't know he's the Joker yet, but maybe he was just kind of like, in the driver's side, being a fucking creep chat. He was already a piece of shit before he went into that acid all those years later. But Bruce is brooding and sulking, in his study. And then Alfred comes over and he's like, "Hey, Bruce, listen, I know that everything with Andrea has been going really well. Maybe you should concentrate on that more. Maybe your vendetta, this quest, your parents wouldn't want you to be this way, Bruce." And he's like, "Shut the fuck up, Alfred. I pay you to sew up my wounds and to catalog my gas bombs and my smoke bombs, and you clean my batarangs. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me how to deal with my trauma." And he's like, "Okay, but, Andrea's on the other line, Bruce. Okay, she wants to talk to you. I think this is important." And he's like, "Alfred, I can't. I just don't have the time right now. I don't have the time." And he's like, "Well, when is a good time, Bruce?" He's like, "I just don't know. I don't know." And he hits his fucking hand against the door. And he's like, "Ow." And he definitely hurts his hand. And he wanders off. He then goes back to the graveyard chat where it's fucking storming and lightning and it's raining. It's pouring down on him. And he's at the grave chat. It's one of my favorite Batman moments from the Batman, the animated series chat. And he's like, listen, I know I made that promise to you guys years ago, okay? But things are different now. I mean, I can give back to the city. I can hire more cops. We can fight crime in this way. I don't... Just please, I just didn't count on this, this happening to me. And we see like this lightning strike, and the Wayne family crest is fully emblazoned in the night in the cemetery chat. He's like, "Please, just let me. I didn't count on being happy," which is such a beautiful and tragic line. He's on his knees as the rain is just pelting him, and then he gets the sense that someone's behind him. We see Andrea with an umbrella. And he's like, How do you know? And he's just like, I wanted to be here for you, Bruce. I want to be here for you. And he's like, "Oh," and he fucking hugs her, and he starts crying. And they go, "Ow!" And they start kissing. They start having sweaty sex, sweaty rain dead parent sex on top of the grave of his parents. It's fucking weird. Too tall. Good to see you. We then cut chat. You swore to us, Bruce. That's true. But then his parents, the thing is, it's part of Bruce's psychosis, that his parents would want him to be happy, of course, but it's his fucking guilt and his stubbornness that prevent him from accepting, like, having a happy life. But we then immediately cut to Bruce Wayne to Batman, looking at Andrea and Arthur and just looking so fucking sad, Chad. It's like, it just stabs you in the heart, Chet. Stabs you in the chest. It's terrible. Eventually, we cut from sad Batman, chat. And we then cut to Arthur, who's like, I think, where are we now? Oh, it's sad Batman, Arthur. Oh, yeah, that's right. Eventually, we cut to Arthur, and he's walking back to the office, chat, but then this car just rolls up to him suddenly, and the door opens up, and it's Abe Vigoda, it's Sal Valestra. He's like, "Fucking get in." And Arthur gets in the car, and he's like, "What do you want?" He's like, "Listen, you heard about that shit with Chucky Saul and Fat Man Bronski?" He's like, "Yeah, I heard about it. It's Batman, isn't it? It's Batman." It's like, "Yes, we have reason to believe that it is Batman." He's fucking knocking us all off, Arthur. Artie's knocking us all off. And if he knocked them off, he knocked off Fatty, and he knocked off goddamn Chucky. He's coming for me next. And I can't handle this now at this age. And he's like, "Well, you could ask for police protection." He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You think those goddamn cops gonna keep me safe? It's the Batman, all right? He's gonna get me no matter what. I need I need to think of something. I need your help. Your hands are dirty, Artie. They're dirty. And he gets like his O2 mask. He's like, he's having a panic attack, and his breathing's awful. And Artie looks at the driver and he says, pull off to the curb right here. And they pull off to the curb, and he gets out and he says, it's a little healthy in here. And we get this great fucking shot of Ava Goda's Sal Valestra going, as the door is slammed right in his face, chap. Eventually, we cut to that. And Batman, he's like, okay, I gotta learn more about this whole thing with these gangsters, right? And so he's looking at the businesses owned by Chucky Saul. He's looking at the businesses owned by Fatty Bronski Chan, and realizes these were all kind of like dummy businesses and corporations. They all had stakes, and they were set up by them to filter in money, basically. And he's like, wait a minute. And he's like, okay, these guys are connected this way. And then he keeps seeing this other name pop up that they were in league with, chat, Sal Valestra. And he realizes, like, okay, there's something with these three gangsters. There has to be a connection. I got to figure this out. And Alfred's like, listen, Bruce, the deeper you get into this, it looks like, Andrea's family, the Beaumonts, had some sort of connection as well. I mean, do you know what you're doing here, okay? I know that you were in love with her at the time, but I just want to make sure that you're okay. And Batman turns around and he's like, Alfred, you think you know me so well, don't you? He's like, I don't care about Andrea. And he's like, I know you, sir. I happen to have changed your fucking diapers when you were a baby, sir. And Batman's like, Alfred. And Batman gets in the Batmobile and he drives away. It's like, Batman, Alfred, there's tension between them. There's tension. Eventually, Batman goes to investigate Valestra's mansion. He sneaks on in, chat, and he finds this photograph that features all the gangsters together. Chucky Saul, Fatty Bronski, obviously Sal Valestra, and chat, we also see Carl Beaumont. He's in the picture as well, along with the driver that we saw in the previous scene. He's like, there's a connection between all of these men. I gotta go. And then he's like, I'm having a fucking flashback. I'm having a really negative flashback. And then we cut to Bruce and Selina, and they're on the cliffside of Wayne Manor, that famous cliffside in the animated series where in Gotham Bay. It's beautiful looking. And he's like, listen, Andrea, these last few months have been absolutely wonderful. She's like, they have, Bruce, they have. You're a wonderful person. I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And I'm not good at this thing. He takes out an engagement ring, chat, and he gets down on his fucking knees, and he's like, Andrea, will you marry me? And she's like, oh my God, yeah. And they start hugging and they start smooching, chat. It's beautiful. They're so happy. They're so excited. And she's like, I can't wait to go tell Daddy. Let's go tell Daddy. He's like, okay. And so Alfred's like, yay, I'm so happy for you too. Yay, here's some lemonade and shit. I wasn't able to give you this when you were having sex on the front lawn. And so he drives Andrea and Bruce back to her home, to Carl Beaumont's home. And as they're going up there, Chad, they see Carl Beaumont's office, and there's like several figures in there because that's all illuminated and stuff. They see some people moving around and things. And she's like, that's weird. Dad said he wasn't going to be entertaining any company tonight. And then they roll up. And he's like, Bruce is like, well, do you want me to go in with you? Are you sure you're okay? Oh, it's fine. He's going to be so excited about the news. I can't wait to tell him, Bruce. Mwah. Good night, Alfred. She's like, good night, ma'am. And she walks up, and we see the driver, Valestra's driver, just fucking smoking a cigarette. And he goes, oh, and just looking at her, just staring at her ass, chat. This guy's an ass man, apparently. And Andrea's like really creeped out. She goes inside the house, and then the driver finishes his cigarette and he fucking just flicks the cigarette right at Bruce, who's like, what the fuck, dude? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, yeah, sure. And they drive away. Eventually, Bruce and Alfred, Bruce, he's doing some spelunking. He goes, that's the thing, too. I forgot to mention, Chad, there's this famous scene when after Andrea says yes to Bruce, he's like, oh, I'm so fucking happy. All of a sudden, where they were, this giant fucking just pack of bats just shoots out of the fucking earth, chat. It's like hundreds of them. And they're all like, oh, they're all terrified of this huge pack of bats that has erupted from the cliffside. And this causes Bruce, he's like, I gotta check that out in a bit. And so then we go back, Chad, and he's doing some spelunking on the cliffside of Wayne Manor. And he's like, Alfred, there's a huge cave system down here. It could go on for miles. I think it's probably even bigger than the house itself, 10 times over. And then, Bruce, he climbs out, and Alfred's just up there looking like a sad sack. And he's like, Alfred, what's going on? And he's like, sir, I've received this. This came in the mail today. It's from Andrea. It's from Miss Beaumont. Bruce takes it. And it's the wedding ring, Chad. It's the engagement ring. He's like, what? And he reads the note, and it says this, like, I'm sorry. My dad and I are leaving the country. I'm too young to marry you. Just forget me. And it fucking breaks Bruce's heart, Chad. Oh, did I say Selena? I'm sorry, Andrea. Look, Batman gets involved with a lot of women, Chad. Andrea Beaumont. But he gets the engagement ring. It's from Andrea Beaumont. He reads the note, basically saying, like, listen, Dad and I are leaving the country. I'm too young to marry you. Just forget me. And Bruce is just incredibly saddened by this, Chad. And he's hardened by it. And he's like, well, fucking fine. I will forget you. I won't hold on to this resentment and trauma. I would never do that. And then we cut, Chad, to the Batcave. Because he's like, well, now the plan has changed, Chet. The plan has changed, and now he's going back to what he wanted to do. And we have it where he's just in the cave, and he's putting on the bat suit for the first time. He puts on the belt, and we have the ba 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 ba. And then he has the cape on and everything on, the body armor and stuff, and he just holds out his hand, and Alfred comes over. And he gives him the mask, Chat. He puts on the cowl, and he turns around. Alfred's like, holy shit, my God. And then fucking Batman, his eyes they squint. He gets really serious. He just walks forward, Chat. And there he is, the birth of the Batman, Chat. Ooh, so cool, so cool. And then eventually he leaves the Valestra mansion, Shay. Leaves the Valestra. But we learn a couple of things. Bats hate marriage. Bats hate marriage. They remind Batman of his guilt to his parents. Eventually, we then cut to... Also, he takes the picture off the wall. He takes that picture off the wall because he's got to fucking confront Andrea about this. But then, chat, we cut to Sal Valestra, and he's driving himself in his own car, and he pulls up to, the world of the future. This is what Gotham City would look like without all the poor people. But the theme park has fallen into disarray, Chad. It's been long abandoned. And he's like, Jesus Christ, this is the last thing. If there was any other way, I would do it. But I need him. I need him. And he gets out, Chad. He parks the car. He starts walking this abandoned theme park. And all of a sudden, Chad, these automatons come to life, and they're singing that, saying that fucking, it's a small world after all. And all of a sudden, they start getting peppered with bullets, Chad. Get peppered with bullets. And they start exploding. And Sal, he's an old man. He's like, he falls over because he's so frightened, and he's like in the fetal position. And then we hear him, chat. Oh, I hate that song. And the Joker has come into the film, chat. And Sal's like, Joker, is that you? Sal Valestra? Oh, come here. It's been so long since I've last seen you. Oh, I got to introduce you to the wife and kids. Oh, my luck, your La Cosa Nostra, my La Cosa Nostra. And he fucking hides, and he's like, oh, I hope I'm not disturbing your joke. He's like, of course not, Sally. So good to see old faces from the past. Here, I'll show you my abode. And he puts him into this little roller coaster ride. He's like, sit tight. And he fucking, make sure that's nice and tight. And it's like, it's a bumpy ride. And it just shoots off, and Sal's like, oh. He's like all horrified. Joker's like, he's just laughing. Eventually, they get up to the home of the future. And Joker's like, well, welcome. I know it's not much, but it is so much fun living here, Sally. And he's like, I even have a wonderful wife. And look, we have Rusty. And it's that fucking, a robot dog going, ruff, 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 ruff. Now, Rusty, heel. And he just fucking kicks it and explodes. And it's like, Jesus. It's like, apologies. He doesn't like intruders. But I introduced to my wife. And he goes over to the robot automaton who's in the kitchen just cooking. Oh, we've had so many fun nights, haven't we, dear? And he's like, oh, what are you making? Meatloaf again. I had it for lunch. Oh, how can I say no to that face and that ass, if you know what I'm saying, Sally? And he goes to pinch her cheeks, but he rips off some of the flesh. And he goes, whoopsie. And he just pockets that, save that for later. Well, come on, Sal, take a load off. And he pushes him onto the couch. And he's like, tell me what's on your so-called mind. He's like, it's Batman. He's knocking everyone off. First it was fucking what's his name? It was goddamn Chucky Saul. Then it was Fatty Bronski, and now he's coming for me. He's coming for me. He goes, oh yeah, I did hear about Guano Man losing his mind recently. Oh, how wonderful would it be if I finally pushed him over the edge? And Sal's like, what are you fucking talking about? What the hell do you mean? Don't be crazy, you fool. Listen, the Batman, he's coming for all of us. I can pay you $5 million up front and whatever you want afterwards. And Joker's kind of like, what am I? Am I an exterminator? You think that is what I do? And he's like, listen. If he came for Chucky, if he came for Fatty, and he's coming for me, then he's gonna come for you too. He's gonna come for you too. You think my hands are dirty? Your hands are dirty. The dirtiest. And he grabs Joker by the lapel, and Joker loses it. The entire background behind him just becomes red, and he's like, "Don't touch me, old man. I don't know where you've been, but considering your appeal and $5 million in cash, I'll take you up on it. I'll deal with Batsy." And he's like, oh, you will? He's like, of course! What are old friends for? Come here, Sal. He gives him a nice hug. He's like, yes. And Sal starts smiling. He's like, there you go. That's what I love most. A big, wide smile. And then we cut. I'm sure Sal's fine. Chat. Oh, my Lord. After that, we then cut to Andrea, who's being dropped off by Arthur at her new apartment. She opens the door and she notices that her big window doors are open. She's like, fucking Batman's here, goddamn. Arthur's like, hey, you wanna, we had to just ate. It's bad to go to a bed with, stuffed. We can stay up a bit and talk. So much sexual innuendo in this movie, chat. And she's like, oh, no, I'm sorry, Arthur. Listen, I'm just really tired. I really need to get to bed. He's like, okay. She's like, I'll see you tomorrow. And she gives him a big old smoocheroo right on the lips. She's like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow, Andrea. And then she closed the door and she turns the light on. And fucking Batman's there. She's like, really? Like this? He's like, listen, I need to ask you some things. He's like, out of all the times you could have come to see me, this is how you're going to do it? And she's like pouring herself a drink. He's like, Andrea, talk to me. And she's like, I have to admit, I like the cape. Not crazy about the mask, though. He's like, listen, this is serious. These murders, they're connected to your family, and I need to know. This just can't just be a coincidence that you're here right now. And he's like, look at this photograph. Look at this photograph right here. And she looks at it. It's like, that's your father of all these other gangsters. Sal Valestra, Fatty Bronski, Chucky Saul. How is all this connected? Okay. She's like, I don't know. Why don't you go ask Daddy? He was like, well, where is your father? Madagascar. I'm not sure. He's like, listen, bitch, I'm trying to prevent more deaths. She's like, don't talk to me that way, Bruce. You're an asshole. Okay? And, it's just like, and he's like, just stop being controlled by your father. Is your father putting you up to all this? And she goes, you know what, Bruce? I'm not the one you should be asking if I'm being controlled by my parents. You certainly have been. He's like, well, fuck you. And he gets up and he gets going, Chad. He grapple hooks away. Andrea, she pours herself another drink. She goes to bed and she's just like, oh, she starts fucking breaking down. She starts crying. and she's in the fetal position and stuff. Batman's a little mad, chat. Batman is certainly a little mad at this point. Eventually, chat, we then cut to the Phantasm. The Phantasm, he's right outside of Sal Valestra's home, and he infiltrates it, and he ends up into Sal Valestra's study, where we see Sal Valestra behind his newspaper. He got a roaring fire going, everything like that. And the Phantasm's like, Sal Valestra, your angel of death awaits. And the Phantasm grabs the paper and like rips it from Sal Valestra, but he's dead. He goes, because all we see, Chet, is this rictus grin. And Sal Valestra is dead. And in his lap is this little remote-controlled camera. And all we hear is the Joker's always going, oh, whoopsie, you're not Batman, but that's just fine with me. I have a surprise for you. Oh, just a bomb that might remove, everything. Your internal organs, your entire bone system, your spleen. And he's like, oh shit, I gotta get going. Because it's like 5 seconds. And the Phantasm, it's like feet don't fail me now, just yeets himself out the window before the entire mansion just explodes, boom, and everything. And we see Abe Vigoda's body just erupting. It's naked and it's on fire. It's horrifying, chat. And the Phantasm's like, holy shit. But all of a sudden, chat, we see the GCPD arrive with their fucking Zeppelins and everything. You know it's serious when they bring in the Zeppelins, chat. That's when it's serious. But then you know who also arrives? Batman and his goddamn Batwing, chat. And he starts pursuing the Phantasm, chat. And the Phantasm can fucking move. Phantasm got super speed or something. Got some super speed boots. Takes off across the rooftops. Eventually, Batman, he launches himself out of the Batwing, which then lands. And him and the Phantasm starts fighting. And the Phantasm's like, listen, Batman, this does not involve you, okay? It's just personal. He's like, this madness ends tonight. And all of a sudden, this GCPD helicopter shows up, and it's like, Batman, stop. And the Phantasm just fucking disappears, and they all blame Batman for the bombing. And it's like, stop, it's the police. Get on the ground and put your hands behind your head, or we'll have to use lethal force. And Batman's like, not tonight, boys. And Batman takes off running, chat, but the entire GCP, 4 precincts worth of Gotham cops are chasing after Batman, chat. And eventually they get to a construction site where he has to stay because he's getting shot at, chat. He's getting, hit by explosions and some smoke bombs and everything. And he's hiding inside of this construction yard. Eventually, all of these SWAT, kind of this feels like a Batman Year One, and he gets stuck in that tenement building. But like all these cops arrive at this point, and, they all get out, and they're like, I see the bat, and they start firing at these barrels. Don't shoot fucking red barrels, you jabronis. And even Harvey Bullock, who's leading the assault, is like, no, you idiot, don't. And the entire, construction yard, blows up. Batman gets caught in the blast shed, and he gets a lot of blood in this movie because he gets all these scrapes and cuts across him, Chad. His head, he's concussed, he's bleeding out of his head, and he doesn't know, his vision's all impaired, and more of these SWAT team members are coming inside the building or the construction yard, and so he's like, I gotta get out of here. At one point, we see what looks like Batman using his grapple hook to get out of the building. They're like, there he is, shoot him. They all fucking shoot him, chat. But what Batman did, he took out of his cape and cowl, put it on this piece of wood, and shot it across the way while he runs down all these alleyways, but still being pursued by the cops without his mask. And he's not doing well, chat. He's messed up. He's concussed. He's trying to climb over a fence. He's like Liam Neeson. He's like Liam Neeson in Taken 3, climbing over a fence, chat. This might be the end of Batman. But all of a sudden, Chase, he's making his way down the alleyway. Who rolls up in a nice-looking fucking convertible? Andrea Beaumont. And she's like, get your fine ass in here, Bruce. He's like, Andrea, how? She's like, it's all over the news. And she drives him back to the mansion, chat, where, Alfred stitches him up, makes sure that, he's doing okay and everything. And after his injuries are addressed, he's like, Andrea, it's like, well, what's going on? Why are you here? It's like, oh, Bruce, you just don't know. It's my father. It's my father. And she's like, what do you mean it's your father? Carl, what are you talking about? He's like, let me tell you, that night that I left. And then we cut, chat, to the flashback where Andrea, when after she gets out of the car and fucking, the driver's kind of whistling and growling out her ass and stuff, she goes inside and she sees that her father is being assaulted by Sal Valestra, by Chucky Saul. and by Fatty Bronski. And she's like, oh my God, Daddy, what's going on? He's like, I owe the mob money, honey. I owe them money. I fucked up. She's like, Daddy, how could you? And, Salvador's like, I didn't want you to have to see this, Miss Beaumont, but yes, your dad owes us a lot of fucking money, okay? And if he doesn't pay up, we're going to kill you and we're going to kill him and take everything he's worth for. And he's like, please, Sal, please, whatever you do, don't hurt my daughter. Once the banks are open in Europe, okay, I'll be able to wire you all the money, okay? I just need 24 hours. He's like, you know what? You're going to get the last ounce of pity from me, Beaumont. Give me the money in 24 hours. If you don't give it to me, you're fucking dead. You hear me? You're fucking dead. And they leave. And at this point, Carl goes over to his daughter, and Dre's like, I'm sorry you had to see it, but we need to go. He said, what are you talking about? You said you're going to give them the money. He's like, I don't have that fucking money. It's all tied up in banks and development deals. Like, I wouldn't be able to get that money to them in weeks, if not months. We need to leave now. She's like, but Daddy, Bruce and I are getting married. And he's like, forget him. If you wrap him up in this, he's going to be killed too. I can't let this spread to other people. We can't. We need to go, Andrea. And so she says, me and Dad, we left, and we've been on the run, and we settled after years of running in the Mediterranean. But somehow, some way, Sal Valestra and all these other guys, they found out where my father was, still asking for that money, saying that they would kill him and kill me and anyone else we're connected with. And Bruce, he is the Phantasm. He's doing all these things, and I came back to Gotham to stop him. And Bruce is like, Andrea, why didn't you tell me this? She's like, I was concerned. I didn't want you to hurt him. He's just doing what thinks is right. And he's like, you want to have sex? He goes, hell yeah. And they start smooching, Chad. They start smooching. So originally, like Bruce Timm, and company, they wanted to make this scene even hotter. And at one point, like after they finish having sex, she's like supposed to be wearing the Batman, part of his armor, part of his shirt, to have that on, part of his costume on. But they said that's too much. But instead, she is kind of shirt cocking it outside, Chad, just, overlooking, drinking some fucking coffee, some, after sex coffee chat the next morning. Bruce comes over and he's like, hey, how you doing? He's like, I'm good. It's just, I have to say, Bruce, doing this has been amazing. It's been so good to see you. And he's like, yeah, no, Andrea, she's like, do you think we can pick up where we left off? And he's like, I want to. I just need time. We need to stop your dad. These killings need to stop. She's like, I understand. Well, I need to meet with Arthur. I need to plan some other things. If you need me, call, okay? I'll try to get in touch with you as soon as possible. And he's like, no problem. And so she leaves. She's like, good to see you again, Alfred. She gives him a little kiss. And she goes out. And Alfred's like, Bruce, I see that you fucked her. And he goes, yes, I did, Alfred. And he's like, well, can you make her a part of this life? Can Batman and Andrea be a part of your life? He's like, I just don't know, Alfred. Maybe after all this, I can finally retire Batman. Maybe this can end and everything. And he's like, perhaps, sir, but, we have to stop this Phantasm. And Bruce, he goes, back to the table, and he's looking at the photograph that he showed to Andrea earlier, Chat. And he's just staring at it as like Alfred's talking to him, and he sees the gangsters, and he sees Carl Beaumont. But then he sees that driver again, and he's like, wait a minute. And he picks up this colored pencil, and he draws on this marker, and he draws a smile across the driver's face. And all we hear is, it's the Joker. The Sal Valestra's driver, Chad, is Jack Napier. The Joker. Holy shit, the reveal. Eventually, we cut to Arthur Reeves, Chad. He's in his office, and he's fucking furious. He's like, are you fucking kidding me, Bullock? You had 4 precincts on the Batman. You couldn't even stop him. Oh, damn it. He just fucking hangs up the phone. He's just furious. And he's like, he has his hands on his desk, and all of a sudden we hear this lightning. It's thunder. It's raining, of course, and thundering outside. And we see this lightning strike, and behind him, Chad, we see this shadow just across him, and it's like, oh shit, it's the Joker, Chad. And he goes, oh, Artie, so good to see you. He's like, you, not you. And he's like, he runs to the other door because he's gonna warn his secretary and all the people there. He's like, oh, what are you doing, Artie? Gonna tell the press that I'm visiting you? That wouldn't be good for the papers. That wouldn't be good for a councilman's reputation based on what I know. And he's like, what are you doing here, Joker? Oh, just a wacky friend stopping by. And he's like, wait, is this about like all the things been going on with the Batman? I'm trying to stop him. He's like, oh, wrong answer. It's not the Bat that's whacking all of our previous associates, all of our friends. He's like, I'm no friend of yours. He's like, Artie, I'm insulted. Oh, the fun times we used to have with Beaumont and Balestra and Fatty and the gang. It was wonderful. He's like, no, it's not Batman that's whacking all these friends, all of our old friends. No, this guy looks like the ghost of Christmas future, the Grim Reaper, and I want to know who he is. And he's like, I don't know who this guy is at all. And all of a sudden, they hear a little ring-a-ding-ding. Artie, I'm crushed. That's what he says. Great line. And Jack Nicholson got a payment. Yes, he did. He got a payment for this movie because they mentioned the Jack Napier character. But they hear the phone starts ringing, and Arthur like goes to like answer. He goes like, shh. And he puts it on speakerphone, and we see that it's Andrea. And she's like, oh, Arthur, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to cancel our lunch date. Something came up at the last moment. And he's like, oh, no problem, Andrea. No problem at all. And the Joker, and then the Joker slams down the phone. He's like, well, isn't that a coinky-dink? We're just talking about Carl Beaumont, the old man, and what was he saying? And the spawn of his loins just happens to call. Makes you want to laugh, doesn't it, Artie? And he just starts, I don't know, raping him. He starts doing something to him, Chad. He starts beating the shit out of him. He's like, Joker, no. And then we cut. We then cut after that, Chad. And we have, what is it? Oh, yes. I think at this point, oh, yeah. We then cut to Arthur Reeves. He's in Gotham Medical, Chat. He's been exposed to copious amounts of Joker toxin, Chat, and he can't stop laughing. The doctor's like, Arthur, you need to come down. He's like, I can't. And he's like crying and shit, Chat, because the Joker toxin is just permeating through his body. And he's like, we're going to give you a sedative. The toxin needs to work its way out. He's like, ah. Eventually he calms down. They turn the lights off and everything. And all the doctors, all the medical staff leave. But then, Chat, right as Arthur's about to fall asleep, he looks to the side, and like Batman is just right in the window going, you! He's like, oh no! And Batman comes in, he's like, why were you visited by the Joker? What's your connection? He's like, I don't know. I have no idea. Batman's like, wrong answer. Punch. How are you connected to all this? And he's like, okay. He was asking me about the connections between Beaumont and all the guys that died, all the mobsters. How are you involved in all this? I used to work for Mr. Beaumont, and we kept in touch. And so apparently Arthur and Carl Beaumont have kept in touch for years. And he's like, well, what's happened since then? When I was running for election the first time, I asked him for a donation. I asked him for money. I didn't have anything else for my campaign, but he refused. And so what did you do? You sold him out to the mob, didn't you? That's what's causing all this. I just thought they just told me they wanted their money back. They weren't going to hurt anyone. And Batman's like, oh, he's just disgusted, Chad. But that's the connection. Arthur was the one. He was the accountant for Carl Beaumont. He knew all about the shady fucking deals and everything. And he sold him out. He sold him out and Andrea out, chat, to the mom. Batman leaves disgusted as Arthur just laughs himself to death, chat. I mean, it looks like it is. We can never see Arthur Reeves again. I can only assume he died. Also, of all the punches he probably took to the face, that didn't help either, I would imagine. After that, we then cut to Batman. He goes to Andrea's apartment because he's like, okay, this is all connected. This is just too much of a fucking coincidence. Like, there's no way I can ever be happy. He goes in there, opens the closet, just finds, a bunch of, lady stuff, with dresses and shoes and things. But then he finds her locket. Finds her locket. He takes the locket, chat, and he opens it up. It's a picture of them. But then the phone starts doing a little ring-a-ding-ding. And he answers the phone. He's like, oh, hello. I hope you're doing well. Just wanted to give you a little surprise, Toots. Since I ran across you in Sal's old place, just sending you something via airmail. But he doesn't know it. It's Batman, Chad. He thinks that he's calling Andrea. But it's like, well, what's he referencing? And all of a sudden, we see this little, drone plane, which we saw earlier. And, the world of the future, coming right towards the apartment. Batman's like, oh shit, oh fuck, and he throws a battering at Chad and hits the fucking bomb and explodes, but the blast shoots him back in the closet and he falls down. The apartment gets all destroyed and stuff. And then we hear the Joker going, oh, I'm sorry. I think we're suffering from a disconnection. And Batman's like, motherfucker. Goddamn, I gotta deal with him all of a sudden. But it's like, wait a minute. If the Joker thought he was killing the Phantasm, then where is the Phantasm, Chad? What's going on? We cut to Andrea, and she's like wearing this, looks like military gear, and she's right outside of the Joker's hideout at the world of the future and everything at the theme park. And then we get a flashback with her where we see her walking up to, her and her father's home in the Mediterranean, and she opens the door, and who she sees standing right before her? Jack Napier, Chad. And he's just walking out with a big old smile on his face. And she's like, it's you, but we paid you. We paid you what you wanted. And he just walks by her silently, and she just drops overgrowth. She's like, Daddy. And as she runs inside Jack Napier, he picks up an apple, kind of just rubs on, he starts eating it, and we just hear, no! So Jack Napier killed Carl Beaumont all those years ago. So Carl Beaumont is not the Phantasm, Chad. Who is the Phantasm, I ask you? And then, Chad, we cut to the Joker. He's like, well, time to retire for the night. And he goes up to the robot lady, cutting some bologna. He's like, the Joker's been living off of bologna mayonnaise sandwiches for months, chat. Jesus Christ. And he's like, he's eating bologna. He's like, well, hon, how about we retire for the evening? I'm feeling a little frisky tonight. Woo-hoo! And he grabs her ass and he rips off a piece of her flesh. He goes, oh, whoops. And he pockets that one again. And then all of a sudden, the doors of his hideout open up, Chad, in his home of the future. And we have the Phantasm. The Phantasm is entering. It's like, Joker, your angel of death awaits. And he's like, my God, lady, just as me and the missus were just about to enjoy each other's company. Every time, even when you're in the mood, unwelcome company arrives. Jesus Christ, Toots. You're like a super-powered cockroach. Trying to kill you is hard. And, Phantasm's like, oh, so you figured it out. And he takes off. The Phantasm takes off the costume, and it's Andrea. It's Andrea Beaumont, Chad. And he's like, woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, look at you, all grown up after all these years. And she's like, it's over, Joker. You're going to pay for murdering my dad. And he's like, come on, give it to me. And he just fucking swings at her, but then she starts kicking his ass, Chad. Starts punching him and everything like that. And then she throws him down the table where the missus is trying to fucking attack and everything. But then, she's choking the shit out of him. Choking. Oh, no, actually, at this point, no, I know what happens here. So what she does is they're throwing each other around. She punches him. He gets up against the wall, and she shoots out her her Phantasm smoke at him. And he's like, Oh, look at that. What a wonderful toy. I can blow smoke too, honey. And he shoots off his acid flower. And it squirts on her metallic hook arm and it burns that away. Burns her arm. She's like, oh! And she like rips that off. And then she just grabs Joker and starts trying to choke him to death, chat. But then he's reaching for the cleaver or like that's right next to him. But instead, he grabs the giant tube of bologna and starts literally beating her with his meat, chat. He's like, what hurts more? Forehand, bah, or backhand, bah. And, she's like, Jesus Christ, you fucking asshole, you're beating me with baloney. He's like, that's not all, honey, sick him. And he activates the mom bot chat that he was definitely having sex with earlier or just about to. And she starts coming at Andrea with like a cleaver while he makes his escape. He just beats himself. He Kool-Aid mans himself through the window of his hideout chat and just drops down and runs deeper into the theme park. Andrea, she disables the robot and she walks out. She's looking for him. And she continues walking, chat, but all she can hear is, oh, you're gonna love this one, honey. And he activates this giant industrial like turbine, chat, and starts sucking. And starts sucking up everything around it, including Andrea, chat. So she's like holding on for your dear life, about to be sucked into this giant turbine. And she's like, help, help. And right before she lets go, all of a sudden, fucking Batman. He's on the fucking Batpod, chat, and the Bat Cycle. He shoots himself up into the air, grabs her, chat, as the Bat Cycle goes in the turbine, just explodes after that. And he's like, Andrea, why are you doing all this? He needs to pay, Bruce. He needs to pay for what he did. He killed my dad, all these fucking people. And it's like, Bruce, like, vengeance is not the answer, okay? She's like, you say that? Really? After everything you've done? You're controlled by your mom and dad. He's like, don't bring my parents in. And that's just bickering like an old married couple, chat. You love to see him. And he's like, listen, I'll deal with the Joker, but you need to leave. You're injured, okay? And he's like, he's breaking his own code. He's like, just get out of here. Just get out of here, okay? I don't want to see you again. Just don't make me do what I have to do. And she's like, goodbye, Bruce. And she leaves. She teleports out. And Bruce is like, oh, Joker. And then he runs after Joker. He's like, oh, Batsy, so good to see you after all this time. Oh, I've had so much fun. And then he chases after a Joker into like this one part of the theme park, which is this giant diorama of Gotham of the future, city of the future. And Batman, he's just like walking around and stuff like that, trying to look for Joker. And Joker's put on like this fucking skyscraper costume, like atop of this tower. And he's like moving around the little makeshift diorama city like this the whole time. Until eventually he takes it off and he just fucking bashes Batman over the head with it. And he like takes the sharp part and like stabs down, but he misses. And Batman goes boom, and he fucking kicks him in the chin right here, knocks out one of his teeth, and then like falls back. It's like a kaiju battle. And he's like, Joker. He's like, Bats, the fun isn't over yet. And he hits this switch. And soon all these drones start coming out, chat. And like Batman's he's just so fucking furious of Joker. He's not even paying attention. And one of the drones goes right by him and cuts his arm. He's like, a lot of blood in this movie. And all these drones start like firing, coming down and just keep slicing into his chest, into his head, into his arms, chat. Well, the Joker, he like gets on this model train and just starts posing like, you just love a good time, don't you, Bats? And eventually, Batman's like, I have had a fucking enough. And he just starts taking out these drones. He's either punching the drones out of the air or he's using his batarangs to take out the drones and stuff. And then eventually, the dust settles and it's fine. And we cut to the Joker, who then activates a switch, activating all these bombs. And then the Joker appears above Batman, like on this walkway. He's like, hey, Bats, there's 20 miles of tunnels under this entire park, and I filled all of them with bombs. You only have 5 minutes to get out of here. Let's see if you can. And he runs up, Batman's like, Joker, and he grapple hooks up. He chases after him, Chad. Oh, it's beautiful in like all these dilapidated tunnels. And we finally see the Joker. He's like, sayonara, Bats. Fight you next time. and he activates the jetpack. Batman's like, oh, no, you don't. And Batman, he's like running up this kind of like, I don't know, rocket or something, this one piece of building that's kind of fallen over, and he just launches himself with the Joker, Chad. And Joker's like, yo, what are you doing? Get off. And they start like flying around the entire theme park and everything. And it's beautiful. I really love the cinematography here. He's just crashing through stuff, and like fucking Joker's punching Batman and Batman's punching Joker. They're kicking each other in the peen, just back and forth, Batman and Joker peen just mangled. And eventually Joker's like, what are you doing? If we keep fighting, then we'll both die. And Batman's like, whatever it takes. And Joker's like, holy shit, you're fucking crazy. And Batman just like pulls on the straps. And Batman and Joker start going, no! They start like falling towards the ground. Batman launches himself off. He hits the ground hard. Joker crashes into the ground. And Joker's like, well, I'm done. I want to go back to Arkham now. He's taking off all his shit, but then Andrea appears, smoke and mist and fog. And, you know, she's like, oh, God. He's like, oh, God, Batman, tell your girlfriend to fuck off. I give up, okay? And she grabs him and is like, that's not good enough for me. Your angel of death awaits. He's like, Batman, come on. He's like, Andrea, don't do it. And he's like, it's the way it has to be, my beloved. He needs to pay. They all need to pay. And all of a sudden, the theme park starts fucking exploding. And she's like, goodbye forever. And the Joker just looks at the destruction. This operatic music starts playing, and Mark Hamill belts out this iconic Joker laugh. And he's like in the chaos and everything. As all this smoke and fog and mist starts to swirl around Andrea and the Joker. And Batman's like, Andrea! But they're gone, Chad. And the Joker's laugh trails off. And then the explosions continue, and they're in front of this giant globe, and it's engulfed in flame. It goes boom, and explodes, and just shoots Batman back, and he falls into like this water reservoir and gets sucked under all these underwater tunnels until eventually he's shot out. And he watches shit as the city of the future is completely burned away, completely destroyed. After that, we then cut to the Batcave, where Bruce is very sad. He just has his head in his hands like this, looking. He has the mask off, but the rest of the suit's still on, just looking like this. He is brooding like a motherfucker, chat. And he's excellent brooding, I will say. Alfred goes there to comfort him. He's like, I couldn't save her, Alfred. I couldn't do it. And he's like, Bruce, it was too late to save her, okay? The woman that you knew, the woman that you fell in love with all those years ago, she was gone. She chose a life of vengeance. She chose a life of murder and death. And I've always worried that you would choose that life too, but I know you. And I'm proud of you, and I know that you've made the right choices, even though you've teetered on that edge. It's what separates you from her. You couldn't have saved her, Bruce. It wasn't your responsibility. It wasn't your job. And like, I would speak in the fucking truth. I was speaking the truth. But then as Alfred's talking, Bruce, he sees something glinting in the cave, like some type of metallic thing. And he's like, wait, and he runs over to it, chat, and he sees that it's the locket. So she stopped by the back cave, and she put the locket on like one of the cave walls. And he takes it, and he opens up the locket, and it's a picture of them. And he just starts, just has the locket, and he just looks so downcast. He looks so sad. Eventually, we cut to this giant cruise liner, chat, this boat, where we have this one fucking guy. We have, Jughead from Archie stumbles out, and, he sees this pretty girl on the side of the boat. He's like, I'm going to go talk to this girl. Hell yeah. He slicks back his hair. He's like, make sure his breath is okay. He's like, hey, how you doing tonight, honey? She goes, I'm fine. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to be alone? And we see that it's Andrea, and she's looking into the water, just so downcast. She says, I am alone. And then we cut, chat, back to Gotham City, where we have Batman. He's like perched like a gargoyle on top of this massive skyscraper. And we hear ba 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 ba. Then boom! The bat signal is illuminated in the sky, chat. And Batman opens his eyes and he sees it. And he unleashes his grappling hook and he swings off into the night, chat. And that, my friends, is my scene by scene scene by scene breakdown, chat, to Batman Mask of the Phantasm. I would give it a full price. It is a full price movie on the double toasted scale. Super fun film. Wonderful voice acting, wonderful writing, chat. And I feel like this was also one of those big moments in this version of Batman's life that made him even colder, chat, that sent him down that path of loneliness. But he could have been happy. He could have been happy. Angie Berserker, good to see you. Need to watch this movie again? Do it. It's on HBO Max. It is on HBO Max, like of all the other DC animated films. It's good shit. But I hope you guys enjoyed that review. Tomorrow, chat, I'll be doing my scene by scene breakdown for Batman Forever, chat. Bummer. It should be fun. And all the release of The Batman. You have your VHS copy of Edge Berserker? Nice. Very, very nice. My favorite part's so funny. Oh, definitely his Joker Healing Factory. You had some Wolverine level. Oh, definitely. Joker can survive those injuries. Joker was absolutely fucking that robot. No question, Deadpool. Oh, my lord. Wait, did you also say a name of Valeska on Gotham series? Oh, Valestra. Valestra was was Abe Vigoda's character. Indeed. Home and Made. Dude, honestly, your Joker impression is just as good as Mark Hamill's. Oh, thank you. To me, I love hearing you do this. Thank you. No, I love saying as well. Luke the Boss, thank you for the 10 minutes. You know, as much as I love the Killing Joke, I do love stuff like Batman 89, Batman 80 series when he has a gangster past. Because the Joker's way too vicious of a character, just have been a nice guy who went that crazy after just one bit. Yeah, no, I like, they've always played on the Joker's origins, and it's cool when it's a mystery we don't really know, like, Heath Ledger's Joker. But yeah, in the DCAU, he has always been a piece of shit. He just got worse. He got so much worse. Amazing, absolutely full damn price, indeed. Indeed, chat. Thank you. That's why it's only right that Phantasm helped make Batman. Yeah, he did. Or was supposed to. Which is the best Robin in your opinion? I'm always like Tim Drake. Always really like Tim Drake. He was always my favorite. So when you decide to play 5v6, you'll do the Joker voice I'll do Kefka's voice, indeed. 100, you know it. That's what's going to, because that was the inspiration for Kefka was the Joker. Yeah. Yeah, well, having Phantasm kill Terry's father made me an episode of JLU was great. Well, he was supposed to. The Phantasm was supposed to, but then Andrea Beaumont refused to do it. But that was the plan. And it just worked out because Terry's father was murdered by Derek Powers. But that was originally part of Amanda Waller's plan, was to use the Phantasm. I like that they had that callback, too. It's cool that they brought back Andrea. I don't know, let's talk about the ending, the comic. I don't know what the comic ending is. I don't know it. I never read. I know Martin brought up some cool facts about the book version of Mask of the Phantasm, where the Joker got away, or that like Andrea realized that the Joker was not that same guy all these years ago. He was just so crazed, and so she's like, "You're not the same person. You don't even remember." And so she lets him go, or it separates them, the explosions and things. I know that's part of it. I'm sure some more details too, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But again, I hope you enjoyed the review. I'm going to take a quick break. Break, chat. And then I'm going to jump into some Horizon Forbidden West. Should be fun. The Joker, very sexually promiscuous in this movie, chat. Crazy. All right. But yeah, make sure everything's working here. I think we're good. By the way, because, Batman Beyond has been in canon DC for a few years now, and they continue the series of comics. I knew they did Batman Beyond comics. I didn't know if they were canon or not. That's neat. I like that. I like that a lot, chat. Very cool. Batman 2.0 is the name? Okay. Neat. I love my Batman Beyond, chat. Especially my Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which is my favorite Batman movie. Or my favorite animated Batman movie, I should say. All right, my friends. So we're going to be switching over to Horizon Forbidden West.